to present my ideas and to exchange with you about China's new program called One Belt One Road Initiative. And today I will give you some my personal thinking of this program, to also introduce some Chinese government ideas for these programs. I will divide my presentation into 4 parts. First, we'll present the background of the initiative of OBOR, and then it's mainly came from the government documents, visions and actions on jointly building One Belt One Road strategies, and the main challenges and possible future. So when I think the background of the initiative, I will think these 4 things is important for us to understand the One Belt One Road initiative. One is China's economic development. Second is China's rise. 3 is the security issue. Last one is the Back to Asia strategy of USA. First one, the economic development. Yeah, I think this list can let you know the development of our economy each year. And now the total GDP reached to 10 trillion US dollars.
10 trillion?
10 trillion, yeah.
6 trillion?
6 trillion, that's the Chinese. China yuan. China yuan, it's not for US dollars. Yeah. Billion, okay. Oh, sorry.
This way. Professor,
just push it hard.
Yeah, push hard, yes.
This direction.
Oh, direction. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, these came from the international monetary foundations that show if we use PPP to measure the GDP of China, in last year's means 2014, the total GDP of China has exceeded the total GDP of Americans. So, based on PPP and also based on the International Monetary Foundation, yeah. And this is numbers from the International Trade Report. In 2013, the merchandise trade of China ranked #1 in the world, exceed Americans. Merchandise trade, not put the service trade. Sorry. Oh. No problem. Can I use the computer directly? So I can very much easy to control the PPP.
This is okay?
Yeah, it's for the next one.
Next one?
Yes. Yeah, this commercial service trade. For commercial service trade, American rank #1. Then move to another one. It's for the international investment also based on the United Nations statistics. We can show in the last years, American ranked #1 for the international investment, but Hong Kong and China ranked #2 and #3. So if we put Hong Kong and China together, China also ranked #2. I think in the next 5 years or sometimes China will exceed Americans, ranked #1 in international investment. Okay, move. Sorry. Yeah, but the problem is, you can show this, the growth rate of China declined very much. In the last years, the rate of the growth of China only 7.4, but maybe this year will decrease furtherly, maybe decrease to 7%, 700 merchandise trading nations. China has become the world's second largest foreign investment country. China's economic growth is slowing. How to promote further development of China's economy become big challenges faced by Chinese government. Then Chinese want to need a new market, new raw materials, safe energy transportation corridor, and transfer of excess capacity to some place so that can continue China's production. But this picture can show you the transportation problems of China. Okay, Malacca. Okay, we can see for China, more than 70% of our oil will be transported through Malacca Strait. And also many other Chinese goods exported to foreign countries will move also to Malacca, to Indian Ocean, and to Europe. So that causes some potential threat to China's security of our international trade and our energy. Everyone knows two island channel, first island channel and second island channel. These two channels can let you know in the east part of China, if Americans do something, then that will cause some big threat to China for the international trade. Okay. This picture shows some contradictions and disputes of the territory in the South China Sea. We can see this is the so-called line-line. And also some other countries to raise their requirement of the territory. So we can see they overlap very much each other. That also in today cause big problems in this place. So then we can find some security issues of China: energy, transport line, military containment, territory disputes. All of these things let China very much clearly know in East China Sea and South China Sea there are some potential threats to this country's development and this country's security. And finally, American raised a new strategy called Back to Asia. Back to Asia. And some contradictions happened both in East China Sea and South China Sea. In East China Sea, everyone knows we have a dispute with Japan for the ownership of the Diaoyu Island. And also, 2 years ago, China announced the Air Defense Identification Zone. And both Americans and Japanese didn't recognize the legitimacy of Air Defense Identification Zone. And when Chinese government announced this Air Defense Identification Zone, immediately Americans sent two military airplanes to go to this place to demonstrate that they disagree and they don't recognize this air defense identification zone. Also in South China Sea, territory disputes become a very hot issues today, and some countries, including Americans, joined these disputes and caused a big pressure on China in these issues. And also, America announced two international trade strategy. Number one is TPP. Another one is TTIP. Okay, please. Hirani argued that only now our great challenge is not deterring any single military firm, but advancing our global leadership at a time when power is more often measured and exercised in economic terms. These are his ideas. Okay. And also, economic statecraft has two parts. First, how we harness the forces and use the tools of global economics to strengthen our diplomacy and presence abroad. And second, how we put the diplomacy and presence to work to strengthen our economy at home. So it's TPP. The TPP covers some important areas. typically TPP will let the tariff become zero. So that's a much higher standard FTA, TPP. And then move to TTIP, please. It's a picture from TPP. It's TTIP. TTIP, everything one can know. Also cover almost every respect. Americans and the European Unions want to slow the negotiation for TTIP to decrease the domestic barriers. Also hope to the domestic barriers become zero. So we can put this to FTA together. Outside, they want to have a zero tariff. Inside, they want to have zero barriers. So if these two negotiations agreed, reach to agreement, that means the international trade environment will have a fundamental change for China. Okay. Yeah, please. So, in order to make a response to these situations, 2 years ago, China announced the Shanghai Pilot Free Trade Zone to make experiment if Americans' negotiation, both for TPP and for TTIP, get success, then how China to make a response to such situations. So we put many policies in this Pilot Free Trade Zone to practice, and then to transfer the experience practiced in this FTA, FTZ, and then to spread to every provinces to make a proper response to the changed situation. Okay, that is our main task for this FTZ. Open capital account, construct offshore financial center, innovate trade regulatory models, and promote innovation and development of foreign trade logistics. And also some main measures accelerate the transformation of government functions. We also use the negative list, and that is followed from the Americans' negotiation for the TPP. There is a negative list also in China. In this FTZ also experiment the negative list management, expand investment areas open, promote trade development model transformation, deepen the open and innovation in the financial sector, and improve the legal protections. All of these measures experimented in the Shanghai Pilot FTZ. And also, from this year, China initiated another 3 pilot FTZ. One in Tianjin, the second one in Guangzhou, the third one in Fujian province. So now we have 4 pilot experiment zones to experiment policies that make preparation to meet the challenges if the TPP and the TTIP negotiation get the success. So the background now we also can give you a summarize. Looking for a new zoom for the political and economic development. Improve the geo-economic environment. Promote the Euro-Asia economic integration. Improve the security. Breaking the American containment in the East China Sea and South China Sea. Balance U.S.'s rebalance strategy, shaping a new international structure, if it is possible. Based on all of this requirement, China needs a new ground strategy for rise. That is my first part, to introduce the background. Then move to the second part. Second part, I just want to introduce the government ideas for the initiative of New Silk Road. In these years, in the May 7, Chinese government announced the visions and actions on joint building One Belt One Road. Its contents for its document, I just want to introduce some key issues to you. Okay. Silk Road spirit. It's the first time to raise the Silk Road spirit, peace and cooperation, openness and inclusiveness, mutual learning and mutual benefit. Okay, and 5 principles. First one, initiative is open for cooperation. The so-called New Silk Road and Maritime Silk Road, actually, these programs cover every respect of the world, every country. If they want to join these programs, they can join. So, although it's called New Silk Road, but in practice, no boundaries for this program. That's second one is initiative is harmonious and inclusive. Third one is very important. The initiative will follow the market principle to operate. It's fundamentally different from many programs initiated by the International Monetary Foundations, by the World Bank, or even by the Asian Development Bank. It's a market-oriented program. And also, the initiative seek to the mutual benefit. It's a 5 principles. Sorry, we still have another one. And also the framework. So what means the New Silk Road and the Maritime Silk Road? Then we can see we have a 5 road, 3 on the land, 2 at the sea. One is the Silk Road economic belt. First, bring together China, from China to Central Asia, then to Russia, then to Baltic, to North Europe. That's the first line. Second line is link China with the Persian Gulf. Also slow the Central Asia, then to Persian Gulf, then to Mediterranean Sea, slow the Central Asia and West Asia, then to North Africa and also to the South Europe. The third one connecting China with the Southeast China Asia, South Asia and the Indian Ocean. To Maritime Silk Road, one is from the coast areas of China to Europe, through South China Sea and Indian Ocean. Another one from China's coast area, through South China Sea to the South Pacific, means to Australia, to New Zealand and some small countries in the Pacific Ocean. The pictures, we can see it's the Maritime Silk Road and that is the Land Silk Road, covering the Asia Pacific, Europe and Asia, Middle East, Africa and South Pacific and other regions, excluding the countries in the Pacific Ocean, including 65 countries with a total population over 4.4 billion, accounting for 63% of world's population. Economic output more than $20 trillion, accounting for 30% of the global economy. Most of these countries are emerging economies and developing countries. Okay. On land, the initiative will focus on jointly building a new Euro-Asian land bridge and developing China's Mongolian, Russian, and so on and so forth. Please move to another one. And then the priority for these programs. In Chinese, we say 五通. First one, policy coordination, means the government will talk each other, communicate each other for these new programs. Second one is facility collectivity. Facility collectivity is the main part of these programs in current stage. Then second one is union-peddled trade. The third one is financial integration. Then people-to-people bonds. Please move to another one. This is for the policy negotiations. It's the first important meetings called Dialogue on Strengthening Connectivity Partnership. Last year in Beijing, 7 countries joined this dialogue. 7 countries: Bangladesh, Cambodia, Laos, Mongolia, Myanmar, Pakistan, and Tajikistan. And I think everyone maybe clearly know it's the poorest countries in today's world. So they are the first group to join this dialogue with China for the One Belt One Road construction. And cooperation, the facility connectivity. Facility connectivity is a priority area for implementing the initiative in this stage. Typically, to focus on the railways, highways, and harbors building in these facilities. Yeah. This picture shows how to build the road, rail, sea, and air to make infrastructure. Then, based on this instruction, so the countries can develop their economy. That is based on China's experience, because in our reform period, to build infrastructure first, then to develop our economy second, seems to Chinese is a successful model for economic development in current days. Okay. Cooperation priority is for trade. Trade and investment. Investment will focus on economic corridor. Trade will focus on the negotiation for FTA. Okay, move, please. These are economic corridors. Yeah, first one is China, Mongolia, Russia. This is a new economic arrangement because in the ancient times, the Silk Road will not cover Russia to that times. Now, China, Mongolia, and Russia will become an economic corridor. It's called Meng Zhong Yin Mian. Bangladesh, China, India, and Myanmar is the second corridor. And China and the 5 countries of Central Asia, China and Pakistan is now in the practice. Chinese government this period will invest $44 billion in these programs. The Great Mango region also is an economic corridor, building Euro-Asian bridges and landing to Singapore also is an economic corridor. These economic corridors, now some were on the practice, some still in the planning. And move to another one. It's a picture show FTA. Now China will promote typically for IECP. IECP originally initiated by Japan. Yeah, regional comprehensive economic partnership, RCEP, sorry, and also it's for TPP and for the first one and second TPP, so it's a cover. FTAAP initiated in last APEC meeting in Beijing. I mean FTA in Asian Pacific areas. Every country in that meeting will agree to have these negotiations, but some countries, including America, will say, when we finish our TPP negotiation, then we move to the negotiation for FTAAP. Okay, move to another one. Then we can see this picture. It's for FTAAP. This for New Silk Road initiative. So if this strategy is success, then we can say it's covered every most important areas in today's world. Cooperation primarily, financial integration is now Chinese government and for some other countries' government together to establish 3 international new banks. One is AIIB, or everyone knows Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. 57 countries become founding members of this bank. Second one called BRICS Bank, also under the constructions. Then is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Bank. Then it's 3 new banks, and also Chinese government to establish Silk Road funds. It's an investment company. Now the capital is 40 billion US dollars for this Silk Road funds. And the picture shows Americans at the beginning wants to persuade some countries don't become founding members of the AIIB, but including the UK and some other countries finally become the founding members. Cooperation priority, people-to-people bond, is very much creative for Chinese government this time to promote such a strategy, because they have many measures to promote the people-to-people communication. And we can find send more students to each other's country. Chinese government will provide 10,000 government scholarship each year to the countries along the One Belt One Road every year, and also hold cultural years, art festivals, film festivals, TV weeks, and book fairs in each country, and enhance the cooperation and expand the scope of tourism, strengthen cooperation with neighbor countries, epistemic information sharing, and exchange of prevention and treatment technologies, and so on and so forth. Yeah, even China with Kazakhstan now jointly built a university in Kazakhstan. Okay, move to another one. Yeah, sorry, it's a picture show. Operation mechanism. Yeah, China will take full advantage of the existing bilateral and multilateral cooperation mechanism to push forward the building of the Belt and Road and to promote the development of regional cooperation. All of the mechanism just use the current existing bilateral and multilateral cooperation mechanisms. It's BRICS. And also is how to use the current mechanism to promote the initiative. Okay. And also there is planning domestically. When Chinese government raise ideas for One Belt One Road construction, almost every province, every city want to join these programs because they know if it's central government programs, government will have big money. They will get big money from the central government. So every province shows their enthusiasm to join these programs. But finally, government will decide 18 provinces or cities will join these programs. Yeah, 6 provinces first on the northwest district of China, and 3 provinces in the northeast China, and so on and so forth. Okay. So finally, I give you a summarize based on my personal understanding. The scope of these programs will cover domestic and foreign. The time can be divided into 3 periods: short time, middle time, and long term. I think the strategy will be put in implementation for many years, not just for a short time. Space, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia, West Asia, North Africa, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, finally global. Contents, economic, political, social, and cultural. Main message to promote these initiatives: aid, quiz market, and market. For quiz market, because many Chinese government capital will put into these programs, but they will follow the principle of market, but I think they will not just want to earn money. So finally, I think that finally maybe it's a new globalization and China's rise. Then main challenges. Three challenges: checks and balances from great powers. Second one is political instability in some countries. Third one is operational and credit risk. Okay, first one, the trade between great powers and China. First one we want to show, we have relatively close relations with these powers. With Americans, to 2013, the total trade reached to 521 billion US dollars. And Russia and China, even we have a close political relations today, but everyone can find, the total GDP, the total money of the international trade between these two countries is very much limited, not for 953, but just 95.3 billion US dollars. Sorry, we have made some mistakes. And also trade between the European Union and China, 2014, much higher, 615 billion US dollars. Between Japan and China, we can see the number is declined. The highest point is this year's 342.9 billion US dollars. This year's only 309.6 billion US dollars. And with South Korea, the number is increased very quickly. I think the last year's maybe reached to 250 billion US dollars, something like that. So I think 2 years later, maybe reached to Japan, become a largest partner in Northeast Asia. And trade between India and China, only 80 billion US dollars. And also, US and the European Union are the key areas for China's investment today. Even Chinese government encouraged China's capital to invest in the areas that cover One Belt One Road strategy. But actually, the investment environment, European Union and the US much better than that place. So the private capital still move to America, still move to European Unions. But the problems for the great powers are, first one, all of these great powers have their own projects in the same regions where China wants to promote a New Silk Road initiative. Americans have a New Silk Road strategy in Asia, initiated by Hillary in 2011 years. Russia has a program called Euro-Asia Economic Union from 2014. Also, European Unions raised many programs. I just put two one. One is Europe, Caucasus, Asia Transport Corridor. Another one is the Central Asia Region Economic Cooperation. Japan also has its own Silk Road project from 2004. And also Japan dominates Asian Development Bank. In this year's Japanese government announced to put 110 billion US dollars to invest in the infrastructure in the Asia. And also India has some projects last year's. One is Monsoon, a project Monsoon. It's cover India Ocean. And another one so-called 香料之路, spice route, comparing with the Silk Road, 香料之路, the marine channel for connectivity for Asia, Europe, and Africa from 15th centuries. And they initiated these new programs from 2014. So many strategies, projects, initiatives overlapped each other. Okay, then another one. They are willing to develop cooperation with China in economy, but they remain the political vigilance against China in general. That's a very popular situation. Many countries in today's world want to develop a close economic relations with China, but all of these countries, seems to me, remain a political vigilance against China. Russia have an agreement with China to build New Silk Road and a strategy, but Russia still remain very much. They want to have a docking between their strategy, Euro-Asian economic union strategy, to link with China's strategy. But Russia is the first one among 5 great powers to recognize China's One Belt One Road strategy. India also joined some programs. AIB, India is a founding members. India also joined the BRICS Bank. India also joined the BCIM Economic Corridor, become a former members. But India government up to today has not recognized officially to join One Belt One Road strategy, including the Prime Minister visit China. Xi Jinping raised the New Silk Road initiative before him and asked him to join. Then he still refused to write agreement on the declaration of his visit. Therefore, India today still not officially announced to join these programs. Then European Union. Some countries in European Union become founding members for AIB. And some leaders of European Union express their willing to have some talk with China to join these programs. But so far, there is no official announcement to show the European Union as a whole to join One Belt, One Road programs. And the US and Japan so far no positive attitudes towards OBOR. No positive, yeah. The third one is all of these great powers can affect many countries in the regions where China will put the One Belt, One Road initiative into practice. Russia have a big influence on Central Asia. India has a big influence on South Asia and Indian-Ocean areas. European Union have a big influence on Central and Eastern Europe and Central Asia. And Americans, I think, his influence maybe cover every respect. Japan also have a big impact on the Southeast Asia, so on and so forth. And all of these great powers so far do not want China to change the world order unilaterally. America is a hegemony. Russia is once a hegemony. European Union is the best region for the political and economic integrations. And India and Japan want to become world powers. All of these 5 countries, they don't want China to change the world order unilaterally. Therefore, negotiation with these countries is necessary for China to promote its initiatives. Okay. Then the second risk for China is political instability. Yeah, many countries in this area, their political regime is not stable. Yeah, in many countries, here just example, China's investment in Libya before revolution reached to $20 billion US, including some project money. But after the revolution, a huge losses for China happened in that countries. And so far, no one say they will compensate for China. And also the same thing happened in the countries like Thailand, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka, and so on and so forth. Then operational risk and credits. Yeah, from the operational perspectives, we can see all of these areas. If we cannot handle properly, will cause some problems: security, political stability, government effectiveness, legal norms, macroeconomy, foreign payments, finance, taxes, labor, infrastructure, and also credit risk. Some sovereignty credit cannot be guaranteed in the of some countries in these areas, and also currency, finance, political, economic structure, and countrywide risk, and so on and so forth. Yeah, please. Then finally, I will give you a very simple instruction from my personal understanding for the possible future. First, to see the 5 first countries. Okay. Yeah, in last year's and this year's, 5 countries already joined these programs. First one is Pakistan. When Xi Jinping visited Pakistan, 2 countries reached many agreements, and the total cooperative projects money will reach to $46 billion. But the bilateral trade between China and Pakistan is very much limited. Last year is only $16 billion. Indonesia is the second country. When Xi Jinping visited Indonesia, we also reached many agreements with Indonesia. Indonesia is a Southeast Asian superpowers, a key node maritime Silk Road. After the negotiations and based on agreement, altogether China will raise $50 billion for financing, completing the Trans-Asian Railways. Bilateral trade between these 2 countries in last year's reached to $46.9 billion. Kazakhstan also is a key point in the land Silk Road. In this year's, when Xi Jinping visited Kazakhstan, both sides reached some agreement, and both sides agreed to dock the Shining Pass project raised by the Kazakhstan and Euro-Asian Union and China's One Belt One Road strategies. The bilateral trade between these 2 countries last year reached to $4 billion. Russia, also in this year's, when Xi Jinping visited Russia, both sides reached agreement, decided to dock with the Euro-Asian Union with China's One Belt One Road strategy. Early co-option projects cost $26 billion. Bilateral trade money last year reached to $95 billion. Belarus also docking. Both sides reached agreement, docking with the Euro-Asian Union. Bilateral trade, these 2 countries is very limited, only based on the statistics of Belarus is $4 billion. So it's the first 5 countries. Based on these first 5 countries, then we can find the progress made, but not too much. If China wants to make some success for the programs, I think 4 conditions is necessary. First one, to establish mutual trust and net great powers support. Second one, forming a consultation mechanism, adopting the national original development plans with China's programs. The third one is to establish model nations and demonstrate projects to let some countries to follow. The final one is to benefit the poor country and poor people. Then it has demonstrated reality shows based on the current situation. I think if you asked me to say the real situation for today's One Belt One Road initiative, I give you 5 points. First one, it is a major strategic layout. Second one, so far it has a very much limited impact on international trade. Third one is the initial impact mainly on investment. So I think based on this strategy, in the near future, I think the international investment from China will increase very much. The first one is it may have a great long-term impact on the international financial system because China established 3 new banks. Then this program faces some security risk. Okay, let's show the last picture. If it develops smoothly in future, I think the Belt and Road Initiative aims to promote the connectivity of Asia, European and Africa continents, and their adjunct seas, establish and strengthen partnerships among the countries along the Belt and Road. set up all-dimensional, multi-tile, and composite connectivity networks, seek new models for international cooperations and global governance, inject new positive energy into world peace and development, and realize diversified, independent, balanced, and sustainable development in these countries. For China, China's economy will be closely connected with the world economy. China will stay committed to basic policy of opening up, building a new pattern of all-round opening up, and integrate itself deeper into the world economic system. The initiative will enable China to further expand and deepen its opening up. China is committed to shouldering more responsibilities and obligations with its capabilities and make great contributions to the peace and development of mankind. It's my instruction. Okay. Now I think 15 minutes.